Antonio, about to go live here. I'm going to wait for some people to jump on, and hopefully you guys will start joining me soon. So today's topic I think you're going to like. I think it's going to be an interesting topic, and I think you're going to enjoy it. I think it's going to be some, maybe some revelations for some of you, and it falls under the category of essentially, how do we become more efficient in our business? So again, I'll just wait for some people to jump on board. If you're on board already, hit me with a comment. Love to hear what you have to say. And so, anyway, we'll see how it goes, man. So it's ought to be fun. I said I'll wait a little bit, go get some coffee, go get some drinks, go get something, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, type in a comment so I know you're there, and I'll see them. I might even highlight a few, man. I have the capability to actually highlight a few comments, so it'll be kind of cool. So, all right, who do we got here? We have, thanks for doing this. This is Matt. Here, we'll bring him on board. Boom, there you are, Matt. You're now on the screen, man. I thought that was pretty cool. So, boom, there you are. Hey, Matt, where are you from? So just type that in. Let me see. We got more folks jumping in. Got this gentleman. Whoa. Now, you know I can't pronounce that name. Just go LH. So cool, man. Thank you for joining me, man. Appreciate it. And tell me what countries you're from. Always good. All right. I got a nice what's up right there. I got a nice, cool. Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. You're very welcome, man. Martin, what's up? Okay. So great. So anyway, just leave me some feedback. Where you guys from? We're going to start in a little bit. And if you're watching this on the record, by that I mean you're not watching it live, just fast forward like 3 or 4 minutes, maybe the 5-minute mark, so I can just let people jump in. And Sri Lanka, again in the house. I love it, man. Let me grab some of this. What's this one say? Okay, let me see. Sometimes I got to pull these in there. You've been following me for a year. Let me see, where is this? All right. Thanks, Victor, for the great work. I've been following you for a year now. It has added a lot of value to my selling. Wonderful, man. Fahad, Masood, do I have that? Masood is good. So I dig that, man. Cool. Let me see who else is up here, man. India. I got to highlight India. India, man. India is one of my greatest supporters online. So you guys are awesome. Henry, thanks you for joining me, man. Got Sri Lanka, Egypt. Look at that, boy, Egypt. By the way, Egypt, Mohammed, my favorite place is Sharm el Sheikh. Been there at least 2, maybe 3 times. Love Sharm el Sheikh, man. All right, we're just going to give it 1 more minute, and then I'm going to just launch into this bad boy. And let's see what this one says right here. I'm just pulling. Sent you a PM yesterday. Take a look. Johnny Pacelli. Was there a good value proposition in there, Johnny? I hope so, man, because if it wasn't, it'll probably get stuck somewhere in the clogged pipe. I get a lot of texts, a lot of emails, man. So hopefully it's not one of those, hey, call me, let's talk. Don't do that to me. Just tell me what you want, and the shorter the better, man. That's how I usually respond. So I look forward to talking to you, Johnny. All right, what else we got? Let me see what we got here. This helps me read if I pull it up here. You are a great mentor, boss. Awesome, man. That's cool. Okay, so let's launch into this, and just leave your comments. This is going to be an interesting conversation. I did a webinar for a company, and they pretty much do a lot of loans to dealerships, car dealerships. And so in that process, in the research phase I was going through, what was interesting, I started thinking about buying a car. Now, just bear with me. When I get to the end, it's going to be worth it, okay? So if you've ever bought a car in the past, especially here in the U.S., I can only give you the U.S. perspective. So if you bought a car in the past, what typically happens is, it just takes a long time. You walk in there, and there's a lot of energy, right? You got your energy all the way up here, man. But then, that it takes about maybe 2, maybe 3 hours sometimes. And man, by the time you get down here, you're just exhausted. Has that ever happened to you? You're just exhausted. You're just I just want to get out of here. And so what happens is, if this has happened to you, give me a 1. If that's happened to you, just hit 1, man. And so, it's like choosing a car isn't even the tough part. It's actually just getting through the whole process, the sales pitch, all the options, costs, taxes, additional costs, hidden costs, all that stuff, right? And so what happens is, if this is you, after 2-3 hours, you just beat. So what's happening in your brain is that somewhere in your brain, right here in the memory part, somewhere in there, you remember this experience. Which is why when you ask people, do you like going to buy a car, they're like, oh, I want a new car, but I don't want to go get a new car. You ever have that dilemma? I want a car, but I don't want to go get a new car. Because it's in your mind, This has been recorded as a horrible, I don't say horrible, but you know what I mean, a tedious experience. It's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, right? And so this happens to a lot of things that sometimes we resist doing. Like, for example, if I have to do some home repair, immediately my brain goes back into memory and it just begins to think about all the things that never went right. And immediately I bring all that negative memory up front and I'm like, oh, I don't want to work on something. You ever have that happen? You just don't want to work on something. But if you think about it, it's because in the past you've had bad experiences and you bring that forward and that means you don't want to work on it. So the same thing with a car. You buy a car, you went through this experience, maybe once, maybe twice. I've gone through at least 3 or 4 times and it is painful that in my brain I'm like, I don't want to buy a car. I want a car, but I don't want to buy a car. I don't want to go through the process. So in doing my research for this company, I came across, you're probably familiar with a company called AutoTrader. AutoTrader, okay? Now this whole thing I'm doing right here with you falls under the umbrella of creating for the customer an effortless experience. And that's based on a book I read a couple of years ago called The Effortless Experience. By the way, great book, The Effortless Experience, read the book. But it really talks about reducing friction. In other words, how do you make it easier for customers to buy? Studies have shown that it isn't brand or product, it isn't delivery, it isn't service that drives customer loyalty, and it definitely isn't price. What drives loyalty in today's market is the buying experience. And part of that buying experience is make it easy for me to buy from you. If it's difficult, I'm like, ugh, right? And so AutoTrader has figured out how to make the process easier. In other words, if this is the curve again, instead of taking this 2 to 3 hours, they've shortened it, and maybe you probably get in and out in maybe 1 hour. And what they've done is very clever. What they've done is very simple. They're allowing you now to actually give up your information first and assess whether you want to buy a car or not, or even bring in a trade-in. So take a step back. When we talk about buying, again, the brain is alarming because it remembers things in the background. You're like, I remember that last time I went there, that was a horrible experience. And so I always use this model, right? Selling is always about certainty, tell me if you agree, and anxiety. Now, what I always tell people is that this is it. This is the simplest sales model you'll ever learn. Certainty, anxiety, right? Now, if there's an equal amount of certainty and anxiety, the customer will say, let me think about it, right? Now, if there's an increased amount of certainty and anxiety drops, customers will make a buying decision. But if you've had a bad experience, like buying a car years ago and now you have to buy a new one, your anxiety is up, your certainty is down. So what they're trying to do at AutoTrader is find a way to not only get you back in balance with certain anxiety, but increase your certainty and reduce your anxiety. And what they're doing is they've come up with a way on the front end, instead of taking 2 to 3 hours, you can do a lot of the work on the front end before you get to the dealership. So what AutoTrader, and I'll just write this up there because they deserve the credit for this. AutoTrader came up with this program called Accelerate My Deal. Okay, and you can look this up. You can watch the video online. They created a great video for this. And so in Accelerate My Deal, what they've essentially done is the following. This is important. What they said is let's allow the customer, the consumer, to actually do something, figure out what they want, how much they want to pay, everything up front. So here's what typically happens. Here's the process. First, when you log onto the website, you go to their website and you're looking to buy a car, and let's just assume that you're going to take your car and trade it in. The first thing they're going to say is give us your credit score, right? They're going to ask you for your credit score, which kind of makes sense because they want to see how much money they can actually lend you. What's also interesting is you can choose the interest rate you want to pay. Love that. Also, if there's some incentives that's available, you can take advantage of this. If you want cash back, or if you're military. If you're part of the military, there's an incentive, a discount that you'll get. So you can fill that in also. Also, this is my favorite part, is you can choose how much down payment, how much money you want to pay in advance, right? How much money you want to put down. Then you can also determine, by the way, you can tell them what car you have, and they will tell you what I'll put TV, what the trade-in value is going to be. They'll tell you what the trade-in value is going to be based on Kelly's Blue Book, right? Average price of a trade-in. And then last but not least, you're going to figure out how much you want to pay per month. In other words, you can pay X per month, and they'll tell you, you can decide how much you want to pay per month. and they can tell you what you can afford, or you can go through this process after the incentives, after the down payment, and then understand what you're going to pay per month. So before you even leave your house, you already know what you want to pay or how much you're going to pay. Now think about that for a second. How much anxiety does that reduce? Knowing what's going to happen already when you get there. You know how much money you're going to get for your car. You know how much you're going to pay for. You know how much it's going to cost you. And so the big lesson here, see, AutoTrader gets it. The big lesson here is AutoTrader gets it. The buying mindset has changed. You know, a lot of old school salespeople want to get you on the car lot to the dealership so they can sell you right there and then, right? But see, AutoTrader's figured out people don't buy like that anymore. They don't want to. Look, in today's market, when you look at the sales profession, I've mentioned this in the past, you got about 50% of people who are baby boomers, born, before 1963, and then the other are Gen Xers and especially millennials, right? So that's it. But by 2030, in terms of sales professionals, you'll have 75% of the salespeople will be millennials. 25 will be baby boomers. So we're starting to see this shift already. We're at 50-50 right now. In 10 years, we're going to be 75-25. What does that tell you? Millennials and Gen Xers buy differently. They don't have a problem with technology. If you're a millennial Gen Xer, you know what I'm talking about. You can have an iPad here, iPhone here, and you can hold your computer that way. I mean, you're used to technology. So what's happening is that AutoTrader gets it. People are moving more towards this virtual space and doing things online. This coronavirus has forced a lot of us who were technophobes, who didn't like technology, to get back online, really learn the technology. Like some of you may have never done live Zoom calls before or webinars. Now you're doing them like they're no big deal. So that's what's changing. So the question is, as you're thinking about this, what are they really trying to do here? If you think about what AutoTrader's trying to do, is they're trying to do something that's really brilliant. Is that one is they're trying to reduce your anxiety before you walk in, right? Reduce anxiety, right? But they're also trying to accelerate this whole sales process. Now think about the fact, you could be there 3 hours buying a car, or you can be there 1 hour. Which one do you think they prefer? They prefer 1 hour because they can actually service more people as they keep them going through the system. So what they're doing is leveraging technology on the front end of the sales process to accelerate the deal. Now, obviously, once you know what you want, right here is when you actually go to the actual dealership. So ask yourself, what are certain things? In my last YouTube Live, I talked about different ways that you can press time. You can combine things. You can do things in parallel. This is a perfect example of doing something in parallel, doing something ahead of time before you actually get there. So all this makes sense from a sales process. What can you automate? Like this could be automated. If you think about it, it probably is, right? And if they're using some AI in the background, they're probably doing that as well. But you could automate that front-end process, therefore reducing your sales cycle. So as we're going through this pandemic and we're all reevaluating the landscape, one thing has become clear. Technology will now be used more than ever, leveraged more than ever to accelerate the sales process. So hope that helps. Just a small tip. I thought I'd share this with you because I think this is fascinating because this is like ahead of the curve thinking here. They get it. AutoTrader gets it. How do you accelerate the process and reduce the anxiety of the actual buyer at the same time? So, hope you enjoyed that information. I'm going to take some comments right now. Try to keep it related to this, and I'll answer questions. Let me see what I got. Hey, Victor. Just nice compliments. Thank you, man. That's a nice compliment. Thank you, man. It's a long statement, but I love it anyway, right? Let me see. Keep up the good work, man. Thank you. By the way, this new tool helps me actually bring things in so I can read them actually. Adapting with consumer, there it is, Henry, right? It's all about adapting with consumer behavior. They're changing, you need to change. It's amazing, Henry, how many people still want to sell that way. And that it doesn't work that way anymore. And so let's see what we got here. Great information. Thank you, Matt, for joining us. Hopefully that was worth your time, man. And let me see. Aidi. Awesome. Thank you again. Thank you for joining me. Like I said, I don't know if I missed a couple of questions up here. I think I missed one. Consumer behavior, that's a long one. Anything else, because I'm out of here. But let me see, what's this one? Please don't stop. Please don't stop streaming. Well, I gotta stop streaming sometimes, So if you like the live format, again, leave me some feedback, because that's usually very cool. The exchange I think is cooler. What I'm trying to do is the live thing here, because I also think that I get all these emails, people want to ask questions, and sometimes I can't answer them all. So if I don't respond to you, it's either got stuck in spam or I just didn't have time to get to it. There's a lot of stuff going on. These changes a lot my work, and good to know again. I thought I missed a lot this live video. Cool. Well, like I said, I'll be doing more of the live videos. If you like this better than the Sales Influence podcast, let me know. Finding the why in how people buy. I think sometimes people want to see my face and ask me questions. So let me see. Here's a question coming my way, and I'll hang out here. Any tips for using similar tools like this selling highly commoditized stuff? Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Matt, that's such a big question. But I would say, Matt, that today, for example, if you're not using some type of landing page or funnels to actually move people through the commoditized process, for commoditized products rather, that's one way of accelerating. So look at different, I used to use ClickFunnels. I think that's a good tool to use. But now we use Kajabi. Kajabi.com is a learning management platform, but it also has a lot of marketing automation tools in it, which I really like. But as you know, there's this convergence, right? These mailing services, these learning management platforms, these video services are all collapsing, and everything is all in one. It's just a matter of learning how to use all those tools. And that's what makes it hard, because the more technology, the more you have to learn. So that's hard. Let me see what I got here. Hey, Victor, working in retail. Can you please do a session just for retail? Tell me what you want for retail. And, I can probably address retail. I've done retail. How would you make your employer open their eyes to this sales process the way they are genuine old school salespeople? Oh man, that's a tough one, right? How do you get these folks to actually just kind of lock in and just say, hey, I think it's going to be a process. I also often think that if you have a sales manager who's not listening to you, what I would do is two options here really. If you're a salesperson and you have a manager who wants you to sell their way and you can't do it, that's always going to be tough for you, right? So one of the things I would ask you to do is learn how to sell your way. And if you sell successfully, maybe that'll teach them to sell your way. In other words, lead by example. That's my short answer, but that's a tough one. Let me see what's that. How does this? Let me see what this one says. Jake Lee. All right, Jake, let's see what you got. How do I get notified of your live streams? Can we get an email? I don't know how you do that, Jake. I got a couple of people tell me they get automatic, notifications on their phones, and I don't know how that's set up through YouTube. So I'm going to try, Jake, to kind of set maybe a date to do these and just do them consistently. I'm thinking Sunday, man. I'm thinking Sunday's going to be the day. I got a lot of requests for Sunday. Tell me what you guys like. What date? Let me see what this is. I'll just grab that one. Hopefully, Atlanta Careers in Sales. A digital forensic analysis company. How cool is that? A digital forensic. Oh, that's so on the edge, man. I'm wishing you luck, man. I think that could be exciting, lead to so many things. All right, what do we got here? Ariel, what you got? In-home estimates with hidden prices for high-ticket items, 10K plus. I have no idea what that means. That's like cryptic language to me, man. You got to give me some more detail, man. I know you're trying to keep it short, but that's a little too short, right? All right, let's see what we got here. Sales process, closing deal, getting ahead of some experienced salespeople new to the trade. Again, I don't know if that's a question or a statement, man, but dude, you guys got to give me more stuff, man, if you want me to help you. Can we implement this strategy in B2B? This right here. Oh, this is a great question. This is really a B2B. This is where it really fits. I mean, think about the fact that if you can help a company accelerate, find a way to accelerate the deal. But again, there's two ways of looking at it. You as a salesperson should figure out how you can accelerate, how you can do things faster and quicker. And then from a business standpoint, what is it that your customer doesn't like to do? What is it that they're tired of doing? And if you can do it for them or find a process to do it for them ahead of time, that's actually going to help them. So anything you can do to make people buying from you easy. It's like when you go to a website. Think about how Amazon came up with the buy now button. What was the buy now button? The buy now was, it skipped the whole process. Go to your shopping cart, right? Look at your items, check your mailing address, whatever. And what did they say? Yeah, screw all that. Buy now. Because they know that you've bought from them before. So yeah, you can apply this both B2C and B2B. All right, let's see if we got a long one here. Let me see. Yes, agree with Henry above. Very energetic to watch you move, and I say, listing, not that point, I got you. Okay, so live is better, man. I think live is better too. I mean, I have more fun with it, if you know what I mean. I'm not as, when you're doing a podcast, it's just you and the microphone. You get some feedback, and we'll see how that goes. But I would like to ask you for a favor. I'm going to ask this favor every time I do one of these. It's the only price you have to pay. The only price you have to pay is that you have to share my channel with at least one person. That's all I'm asking. Just one person so I can grow the subscribership. It's pretty big right now, but if you could just share it with one person, like, hey, check this dude out. He's all right. He kind of knows what he's talking about. If you can do that, that'd be great, man. All right. So on that note, it's Friday. I think I'm going to enjoy my evening. If you dug this, just give me a 1. If you didn't dig it, give me a 0, and I'll try to do better next time. So, and by the way, I'll leave you on this note. I really enjoy giving you guys this information. I'm hoping you're using this information. And if something cool happens, like, somebody just wrote me something about a deal they closed using one of my sales strategies. And, that they learned, they're part of my Sales Velocity Academy. If you haven't checked out the Sales Velocity Academy, check out the salesvelocityacademy.com. And so they're in the academy and they closed a nice deal. And so he explained how they won the deal using some of the strategies. And when I hear that, man, that just, that fires me up, man. So again, thank you guys. I think I'm going to end this right here. You guys are awesome. Take care.